Is what to do when you can't sleep during an energy increase. Oh shit. Okay. So this is the ish that has been going on. All right. Now, for some of you, like I said, it could have been just for the last few days. It could have been for the last couple of weeks. Or for, if you're like me, it was back in November, gearing up to the winter solstice and the full moons and everything like that. And it can be so freaking difficult, right? When because at the end of the day, getting a really good night's sleep during this time is so critical and so important to the ease of your, to letting your desires flow out, to processing all this new energy that's coming in, to just feeling good, and just being able to manage and like literally get through these things, right? So let's talk about this sleep. So firstly, Lynn, yes, help me please. Yeah, you're feeling that too. Gemma, I'm having a lot of sleep problems. All right, let's discuss this. Orton, the universe putting pressure on you to move or shift or growth. Depression, yeah, I like that, on your being, like the universe putting its big thumb on you makes you feel uncomfortable. Exactly. And just before we go into that, I will literally say, Orton, Master Orton, that was a wonderful comment, because it again is so very true. That whole split of going from, you know, the 3D world dying to the 5D world of growth and everything like that, these are these transitional times. And yeah, it's uncomfortable as shit, because many of us want to continue on the same cycles as that 3 or 4D kind of pattern, right? When it's just like, no, you chose to elevate, we are going this way. So it is, again, trusting in yourself, getting your rest, and following through the cycle. We're all learning a new language, aren't we? Right? Just think, we've been taught all our lives that we have to go to school to learn our ABCs and our math, science, history, social studies. And when we speak in English or your national language that you were born into, whatever language you were born into. But many of the languages that we have, the spoken languages of man, don't involve understanding what you are seeing, using all of the senses. We usually only go for the audible senses and linguistics, right? When it's like, nah, the language of the universe uses not only sound and linguistics, but it uses feeling, it uses touch, it uses sensuality, it uses vision, it uses awareness with everything at the same time. And we are shifting, all of us, into learning this language, right? Whether we want to or not. So the more we pick it up, the faster it goes, and the less that depression, as you're saying, Master Orton, it will start to lift. So very good. Okay. So let's have a look here. Lynn, you say, I remember after Christmas, I couldn't sleep for a few nights. My body was heating up and couldn't cool down. Yep. All right, so we're going to discuss that too. So the temperature, I'm just going to make a note of this so that I do not forget. Temperature fluctuations are an issue. There's that. There's also aches and pains. And stiffness, stiff or soreness, I should say. Yeah. There's also, let's have a look here. Ortho, you say, me too, haven't really slept since November, maybe 2 to 3 hours. Right. So just high energy. Twitching in our sleep. Or, you know, when you are trying to get like really relaxed, but then you're just like, and you twitch and you're like, oh shit, I'm awake. Right? It's like, no, it took me forever to fall asleep, but now I'm sitting here and my mind can't stop because I fucking twitched for just a freaking second. Clearly that's something I go through. Twitching. There's also just like the brain won't shut off. Visions. Very, and I definitely know that for the clairvoyants out there that are going through that, when we are trying to get our sleep during this time, we'll close our eyes and we'll be like, oh, I'm so tired. But then you can't help but see either just the same repetitive visions keep coming over and over again. And it's just like they don't stop. And so it's kind of just like, I don't even want to watch this movie right now. I just want to go take a freaking nap. So there's that. So we'll look at that. Gemma, you say as well, I can't switch my brain off, and I'm at my most creative at night. So yes, visions, creativity, overload. And we'll put that down there as well. I feel that. I'll tell you what I do during that nighttime. Oh, Jared, you say, that reminds me of a plate that I seen a couple months ago that said ascend when I was feeling pretty heavy, like the universe was telling me to ascend. Right. And sometimes we think that, like, oh my gosh, it feels like there's a weight on our shoulders, and that, yeah, we are trying to elevate, but really it's like, no, that weight has always been on our shoulders. Now we're just like, holy shit, it's there. Let's just shrug this shit off. But yeah, no, we're all feeling that one. Okay, so firstly, when it comes to understanding sleep patterns and why we're not sleeping and so forth, the easiest way to solve these issues during the sleep, or at least, and I'm going to say that we're going to solve them all together because it is still part of the transition. So I'm not saying that you're going to have a full-on awesome sleep every single night this point onwards, but you can do what you can do for yourself to make it at least that much better. So instead of only, as Ortho was saying, getting 2 to 3 hours of sleep, hey, if we can increase that to 5 or 6 hours or 6 to 7 hours, then shit, that's awesome. And then we'll work on increasing that to 10 or 14 at the time, which is what you really need. Okay, so let's look at temperature fluctuations, aches and pains, stiffness, and soreness. So those kind of go into the same kind of category because your vessel is being increased. You know those ringing in your ears that you're getting all over the charts? A lot of the times I ask people, yo, so you got your ringing in your ears. What upgrades did you get, right? And because I'm always thinking about the upgrades that I got, right? Because I'm tracking this shit, like I'm clocking that shit. I want to know so I can use it. But a lot of individuals actually, when I ask that, they're like, I don't know. I don't know what upgrades I'm getting. And so I'm like, okay, well, shit. Let's discuss this, and so you understand what's happening when you do get the ringing in the ears. Specifically, if you get it in the right ear, that means that your vessel is increasing in energy, and this is where our temperature gets more difficult to control. This is where the aches and pains, stiffness and soreness comes in, because you're all of a sudden getting all that energy you need in order to heal the parts of the vessel that haven't been healed yet, or that needed that energy. And now also your sensitivity is increasing, so now you're feeling all of this shit at the same time, and it's very difficult to find your comfort during this. So anyway, temperature fluctuations, right? It's definitely going to be, if you are a fire sign, right, and you have a lot of heat in you, or you are pyrokinetic or have pyrokinesis in you, you may find that the physical, definitely, because as your kundalini is increasing and as your ability is manifesting at a faster rate, you may find that you just generally get very, very hot, or you feel very, very cold at the same time. Practice in terms of pyrokinesis is going to help, where you're just focusing on your cells and adjusting the temperature. And all you can do what I do, which is I go by like freaking Iron Man things. So that's the visualization I have. I imagine that my vessel is my Iron Man suit. Now I'm saying this for the fire signs that are out there, but this is for really everybody, because everybody's going to feel a temperature fluctuation. But I was just mentioning fire signs because I know it can be really intense, right? But okay, so visualize yourself as if your vessel was the Iron Man suit. and that your Jarvis in the background, who's always giving Tony Stark all of the updates on, like, ooh, damage reports, we have a blah, 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 going on. Imagine that's happening, right? And as you start to feel your temperature raising, like quite a lot, focus on that and just be like, okay, what is my temperature at the moment? I use a percentage rate, or I can use a percentage rate where I just be like, all right, I'm currently heated at 48%. And if that feels too hot, I'll be like, okay, turn temperature down to 39%, and we'll see what that does. All right, so let's just drop that down a little bit, and almost immediately you're going to start to feel yourself, oh, okay, you're going to cool down and stabilize a little bit because you're using your focus on it. All right, because again, this whole thing is the fact that your energy is increasing, and as you are increasing, you're vibrating really high. But just the same thing, like, you know, if you're cooking on the stove, you're not just going to crank it up to high and keep your food on there the entire time, because no, you're gonna burn right the shit up. And when you're burning up and you're getting really, really hot, you are going to need to hydrate a lot more, because you're going to be burning off a lot of water. You're going to be sweating like mad all over the place, and that's also going to be causing dehydration, which again perpetuates the whole system and the cycle again. So within your awareness, within the temperature, just try to bring that back down and just be like, okay, I'm going to focus on me and bring my temperature down, knowing that you do actually have control over this. Okay? A lot of the times we think that we don't have any control over what's going on inside of our vessel during this time, and you definitely do. The more control that you have, the more you are able to apply that control in so many different areas. And it's really funny. It's just like, again, Iron Man suit, and you just kind of work it that way. Like sometimes when I'm walking down the street, and let's say I'm feeling like a little bit lazy in my stride, I'd be like, increase speed by 20%. And then all of a sudden I'll feel my legs just have the power to just like go faster. And then I'm like, okay, how long? But if you increase the energy, then of course you'll burn out a little faster. So it's like driving a car. You got to work that out. Anyway, so temperature. Now, what I do recommend as well is if you are still having a little bit of trouble getting used to that fluctuation in your temperature, you're going to need to get naked a little bit more often. All right, because a lot of the times we stabilize within our core range, right? So for example, if we are on frequency level 1,000, right? This is for some individuals who are consciously on frequency level 1,000. When you hit frequency level 1,500, you're not going to be able to wear the same clothes or the same kind of fabrics or materials. So because again, you're vibrating higher, you now have to stabilize more. So I do recommend getting naked more often, walking around your environment without any clothes, if it is reasonable. You know, for example, I do it in my personal space, but I gotta tell my kids, don't come knocking on my door. Unless you want to see some shit, and I know you don't want to see some shit. So if you have an environment that is suitable for that, either way, get naked a little bit more. Try sleeping naked if you can, and it will help you, and less blankets, less really big things that are going to clog up your skin and clog up your pores. Find your stability at that point, right? And you'll find that night sweats will go down too, because if you're like me, I as soon as I'm still, and I get very, very sensitive. So if I have like this little extra blanket on, it's like, oh, freaking drenched, right? So be naked to find what works for you. Add very light layers, very breathable things at the same time, and just go within layers so that you can strip off and so forth. So I hope that helps in terms of the temperature fluctuation. So let's have a look here. Danielle, yes, I'm a Leo. Absolutely. I've been going through this. Definitely intense, right? Me too. And I'm like, shit. Orthoa, I'm fire and water heavy. I switch from cold to hot physically to extreme. I create a dimmer switch in my brain to control it better. Might sound kooky, works though. So happy you're talking about this. Thank you. You know what? I'm pleased too. You know, I feel you. You've got the dimmer switch, and I just go by percentages. You know, so it does. It really, really does work though. You just have to put your focus on it. Okay, aches and pains, stiffness and soreness. Like I say, that is because you are healing certain parts of your vessel. Now, to tackle aches and pains, stiffness and soreness, yoga is really actually wonderful to do it. And you don't need a lot. You know, 10 to 15 minutes of yoga is actually going to help marvelously. It's like... I did a quick like little post on this not too long ago, but I'll just repeat it now, which I was talking about. Yoga is like a painkiller, and also it's like melatonin and a painkiller at the same time, because the little parts in your vessel that are causing the aches and pains, as you become really sensitive and you're constantly feeling these aches and pains, your vessel is going to be awake, right? It's going to be harder to get into that REM sleep cycle because you are consciously still aware that my back hurts or my arm hurts, or every time you move and roll over, it's hard to be comfortable because you've got these little pockets of pooling energy, because this is the part of your vessel that's healing. So to help yourself, literally having a nice little stretch out to elongate your muscles and let the channels of energy flow through is going to stop a lot of the intense pooling. I ain't going to say it's going to take it away altogether, because again, you are still healing, but it's going to make it a lot more comfortable for you moving forward. And you will find that your healing goes a lot faster, so that perhaps you may spend a day or two within the aches or pains, but after that, it's like, oh, okay, this is getting much better. And you can actually start to sleep and get into that more, versus spending 2 weeks of not being able to sleep just because we need to move more. Now, also, that does go into, if you are part of, kind of fire sign, I should say, but also water and earth, you know, every sign. I ain't going to just say just fire signs, but we really need to move more at the same time as well. When we have this massive flurry of energy coming to us, regular movement is going to help so much when it comes to our sleeping patterns. So for me, 10 to 15 minutes of yoga helps the aches and pains stretch out, but I really do need to go out for a walk at least for an hour a day, right? If I want to really sleep really soundly, at least an hour, because we have to expend some of this excess energy that is coming in. There's only so much mental that you can do. There's only so much introspection that you can do to try to process this energy before it's just like, nah, it's no more introspection that you need. It is to get up and go walk, or go for a run, or some of you will do whatever exercises you can, but a little exercise will go a long way if you feel like you are able to do so. It's a hard, or it's a fine balance at this moment to feel what it is that you need when you need it in the time that you need it, all right? So schedules and programs don't really help at this very moment, right? So for example, if you're like, man, I'm the kind of person that wakes up at 8 a.m. every day to go to the gym, right? And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to start up that cycle again. Well, we're in rejuvenation, so it may not work for you very well. And the best thing to do is just like, okay, when the time comes, I feel like moving, then move, right? Then just get up and move, whether it's dancing in your living room, whether it is going out for a walk, whether it is picking up some barbells or whatever, or doing something. Get out and move just a little bit. Okay. And Jared, you say, those aches and pains that build up over time, when I do yoga, I focus on the stretch and breathe deep into the stretch, and you can literally feel those aches and pains being massaged and stretched out and relaxed, not so pent up. I love smoking before yoga. I feel like I'm inside my body, which is beautiful because you are. You're inside your vessel, which is fantastic. And that is a perfect example. So thank you so much, Jared, for sharing that, because it's so true, right? Yoga really, really does help. You get that that extra just relax, because it is like that painkiller that helps you go down a little bit. Okay. And that will also help with the stiffness and soreness as your healing still accelerates. Now, let's have a look at the other aspect of this. So temperature fluctuations, aches and pains, stiffness and soreness, that really has to do with the vessel. Going through high energy, the twitching, brain, your brain not being able to shut off, you're thinking all the time, it's just going. Visions that are coming out at the same time, and as I believe it was, as Gemma was saying, creativity overload, and you're so creative during these times. Okay, so I shit you not, I used to fight against this part so very much. I would think, okay, my vessel is twitching at night because I'm just getting like a splurge of energy, and like my ears won't stop ringing, and I'm trying my best to just like, no, I know I've got to wake up in the morning, so I'm going to go to sleep right now. I'm going to do this. And it never works. All right? The more I fight against that, the more I would try to shut my brain off, because I'm like, I'm overthinking. I would sit there in the dark, just with my eyes closed, just trying to meditate my way out of turning my brain off, right? And it's just like, it's very difficult because, again, the amount of energy that's coming through is fueling this tornado or this cyclone of energy. And try, just go, like if there's a cyclone outside your house, I want you to take a nice big board and I want you to go stand in front of it and try to stop that airflow. What's going to happen? No, but you'll be swept up in the cyclone. So what we need to do is, when we can't shut our brain off, which then comes with the vision, which then comes with all this creativity and everything that's going into this cyclone, right? What we need to do is, instead of trying to stop the cyclone, we divert it, right? And we flow with it. So kind of like if you've ever seen Master of Tai Chi, that kind of, you catch the flow, jiu-jitsu, those kinds of martial arts, where they're using the energy to flow with their opponent, right? And redirect it. That's exactly what you need to do. So what do I do when I do that? If I find that I'm like, shit, I can't sleep, then I get up. I will literally get right up and I will be happy. And so my thought process in that moment is, okay, instead of, I can't sleep because of all of this negative that's happening, I'm like, all right, I can't sleep right now because clearly I need to be awake. Everything in my vessel is telling me that right now is the time that I need to be awake, that I need to be doing something with this time. And this is why I have, for example, a night or two ago, I painted this new beauty, right? I painted it like midnight or 1 a.m. or something like that, where I'm like, I need to paint. And my creativity was coming out. And lo and behold, of course, with all of my paintings that I do, there's spells and magic and so forth. I go into the whole interpretation of this, but we're not here for that today. But after I was finished it, though, I looked at it and I was just like, I didn't know what the shit I was painting. I just knew I had to expel some of this energy because I couldn't sleep. And the visions were just coming up over and over and over and over again. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go do this. Only to realize that it was, I was painting an aid for me to sleep, right? All of that part of the cyclone that was going on with all this new energy, and I wasn't able to, and it was so hard to process it. It was like, no, I didn't fight against it. My heart redirected it into doing this, which then helped to slow the cyclone. Because for one, I used the energy to create it, so that took away a little bit of that cyclone's, the force of it. But also, the spell that is within this painting right here helped to really slow it down and bring clarity. So Although within that cyclone of energy and information, sometimes it can be really clouded and muttered. Well, it's like now, okay, the cyclone's still going, but everything's in nice, neat, organized rows, and the energy's going in whatever it needs to go, and I'm able to track it, and I'm able to be good with it. Let's just put that there. Okay, perfect. So, hello, Orune, sweetheart. It's lovely to see you, my dearest. Or Tan, you say, I enjoy doing cycling while listening to music. It also allows me to be present with myself. Oh man, cycling's a great thing. I love to be outdoors myself. If I were to, mind you, I'm more of a walker than a biker. But yeah, that's another thing to do. If you can do it, go cycling and listen to some tunes. Tunes are helping an empath very, very much right now. I'll tell you that much. So that is what we can do when it comes to why we can't sleep during the energy increases. All right, get naked, get naked. Make sure that you can adjust your temperature the way that you need to, whether that be within your heart space and your head and your mind and so forth, or by just simply stripping down and starting from the bare bones, of starting from scratch again and wearing layers just so that you can either peel off or put on as you need to, and avoiding really, really heavy things like heavy duvets, heavy blankets, or so forth, because it will be very uncomfortable. Aches and pain, stiffness and soreness. Do a little bit of yoga, get out and do some exercise when your vessel is telling you that it is time to do so. Rest when you feel like you need to. High energy, just either twitching, brain shut off, having crazy visions, and creativity overload. If you cannot sleep because of these things, then it means that this is your time to wake up and literally start to process some of this shit. And by the way, when I say that, I mean like, man, go get a cup of tea. The tunes that you hear at the moment, I have these soft tunes on. I'll put on either soft tunes, chill, relaxed tunes, instrumentals primarily, because at that moment, I don't necessarily need, this is me personally, I don't need lyrics to tell me what to think in that moment or to sway my perspective in that moment. I'm like, nah, just instrumentals, just calmness, and let the energy flow into the direction that your heart is trying to lead it. So if you're wide awake and you're just like, shit, I feel like writing, write. If you're like, I've had visions of the same shit over and over and over and over again, and I can't get these visions out my head, well, draw them. And then look at them and just be like, what is the universe trying to tell me by showing me this? Right? And work that puzzle out, because this is the time to do it. Right? So there you are. Well, that's what I'm doing anyway. Renee, just popping in to say hi and spread my love at work, so gotta get back. Oh, bless you. Thank you for coming in, sweet pea. It's lovely to see you, honey bunny. Don't work too hard. Okay. And so our last topic of discussion for today